Good evening, everybody. This is Beyond the Buzzer for, you know what, August 12th, 2021. I'm your host, Dane Thompson, checking with you live here on Facebook, YouTube, StreamYard, and anywhere you can hear the sound of my voice. And back in the saddle tonight, fresh off the vacation with the tan lines himself, my tag team partner, my three-point conversion compadre, college football analyst, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back.
Do you actually see tan lines? Listen, all I can tell you is I hit some excellent iron shots at Myrtle Beach on the golf course. That's all I can tell you. I said iron shots. Yeah, I didn't drive worth a damn, but the iron shots were great.
Listen, I mean, Kyle took the week off and much needed week off because Kyle has not taken a week off. Kyle, I can't even tell you the last time you missed a show.
I can't tell you the last time.
Exactly. So Kyle needs some time off, and we held it down for him last week. Also, if you're on the chat as well, stop by, say hi in the chat as well too. Like, share, tag all your friends. Let them know Beyond the Buzzers on the air. And so for the next hour or so, Kyle and I will go over everything that you missed in the entire week of sports, and also give our takes and humor behind it. And like I said, if you're in the chat, like my main man Mike Patton, yes, we did not host a show on Friday the 13th. There's nothing scary about this episode this week, besides the fact of Kyle is drinking. What beer are you drinking tonight, sir?
Tonight is the Line and Kugel Summer Shandy, and it went down cool and crisp, just like Cortland's performance last week. Thank you for stepping in, buddy, because listen, the only thing I could think of that's scarier than doing a show on Friday the 13th is following this as an act.
I mean, listen, as Cortland mentioned, it's big shoes to fill, sir. I mean, listen, Kyle is not only my blind side protection on from the right side. He is my right tackle to my right-handed throwing skill.
Backwards. That's
I did on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Because the left tackle protects the right-handed quarterbacks, but Kyle is my right tackle on the left side.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
What, Kyle? We're talking about the protection of the right side, the left side. We're talking about who's being protected. So, Kyle, you know what that means? The NFL's back.
Noise.
The NFL is finally back, ladies and gentlemen. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but last week's Hall of Fame game is kind of like the teaser. Everybody knew Dak Prescott wasn't playing, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Pittsburgh Steelers. The most important thing about that Thursday night game is that we actually had real-life football with real-life fans.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is the first full week of preseason, and everything is back at it, back at excitement. Kyle, it seemed like football, the NFL season ended forever ago.
Didn't it though? I mean, you got the NBA cramming in seasons. Like I'm pretty sure they start another season tomorrow night. I'm joking. But with the NFL being one of few sports that actually keeps its full schedule, boy, it feels like it's been a long time.
Rodney in the chat, of course. You know what? We're gonna let Rodney slide on this one.
Hey, bring in our favorite troll.
Hey,
no, he did not do that to you. Shoulder pains. Thank you, Rodney, for understanding. Oh man.
Mike Pat in the chat also talk about Dwayne Haskins and that backup job. We're going to talk about that in a second, too, because Haskins is actually pretty good in the preseason so far for Pittsburgh. But, Kyle, back to it. You say we had the NBA and Major League Baseball, the NHL, we had the Olympics. But even though all those sports have been going on, you had tennis, you've had golf, you've had the magnitude of sports, nothing takes the place of the NFL.
No.
And people, I was in the office today, and inside my office there was a group of women, and they was like, "Oh, there's a football game tonight," and they was like, "It's about damn time we got football."
It's about damn time. I could see.
And they're not football folks. They just they only watch the NFL on Sundays. That's it. They don't care about nothing else the rest of the year. And for a lot of people, this is the time of year where it's training camp, it's fantasy football. The NFL brings everybody together, whether you like it or not. It is what it is. Because nobody throws NBA Finals parties. I promise you they don't. All right.
I'm more inclined to go somewhere and watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyle, nobody's throwing up to 7 nights of partying for the NBA Finals.
No,
all right.
Certainly not.
Everybody gets together for the Super Bowl, whether you're a football fan or not. It's the culmination of the entire season. But to get there, you got to go through training camp. You got to get through preseason. And Kyle, we're looking at the NFL for what it is. I mean, it's Madden season. Madden comes out next week, so you already know it's time for, to get everything where it's supposed to be. So, Kyle, I know Mike in the chat's talking about the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. Mike and Kyle are 49ers fans, but Kyle's more realistic. So, Kyle, let's talk about Dwayne Haskins, because Mike brought it up in the chat about him taking the Pittsburgh job, the backup job. Here's the real question. If he does get the backup job, can you see or envision a situation where Dwayne Haskins can resurrect his career in the Steel City?
How do you not consider that? I mean, think about this, Danny Thompson. Since the days that Roethlisberger has been there, there's a number of guys who have resurrected or added a new life to their careers by way of being Roethlisberger's backup. His style of play certainly has him being very physical, getting himself in a position to where he's going to miss long periods of time, but certainly miss a game here or there getting banged up. I mean, and oh, by the way, the classic matchup of Ravens Steelers twice a year only adds to that drama. Okay. And of course, I'm referring to Charlie Batch and Byron Leftwich. Now, granted,
don't forget you go Tommy Maddox as well, too.
No, Tommy Maddox was replaced by Roethlisberger because he got hurt and he was awful. And
listen,
no much life after that. You can say,
but listen, it resurrected his career to be a backup in Pittsburgh. That's how we remember him.
He's the guy that got supplanted by Roethlisberger. That's how we know him, not how
he was part of the Steelers tradition.
I mean, here's what I know is Maddox started Ben Roethlisberger's rookie year and lost the first half of the first game so badly that Roethlisberger, as a rookie in his first appearance in a game, won 15 and a half straight games. And then they came across the New England Patriots. But
exactly.
But yeah, no. The reason why I bring up those guys in particular is they were involved with winning big games for particular seasons. Hell, Charlie Batch himself even did it with a broken hand on Monday Night Football, where he had broken on his hand on a previous play, ran up, tapped the center on the butt to take the snap and carry it in after the ball was landed on the one. I actually brought up him breaking his hand when I got to see him at the NFLPA in 2014. He's like, listen, man, I know that you were just a backup, air quotes, but one of my favorite plays, and I described the one I just did. And he's like, oh yeah, San Diego. Bam, off the top of his head, like without any missing moment. And the way his face lit up was pretty awesome. He probably forgot me, but I loved his reaction. Anyways, the punchline is this. Haskins has that opportunity to do that here. You listen, say what you will about Omar Epps on the sideline there as the head coach. He's fantastic. He's been a player's coach his entire career, even before he studied medicine, working with Hugh Laurie as Dr. House. But, of course, I'm referring to Mike Tomlin. That's all a joke. But the punchline is this.
You're on fire.
The difference between Haskins and the other two is they saw a modicum of success as starters, a modest amount of success. Charlie Batch for a time was supposed to be the second coming in Detroit at quarterback, and then it fizzled as it often does. Just ask Joey Harrington, right? Falcons fan, pretty good backup when he got there. Anyways, but what? I mentioned another guy who saw success as a backup, just like Charlie Batch in just a different place. But what I'm trying to say is this, Danny.
Not in Atlanta. If you said Matt Schaub, I'd give you that one, but Joey Harrington? Woof. Continue.
Damn, here I am trying to bring a little bit of positivity to your team that's going to be so bad in the next 3 seasons that it's going to
here we go.
Flying out of the Hall of Fame. Anyways, see, no, hey, you chose violence. I was trying to be a nice guy. But Haskins doesn't have that initial success. So the question is, is the supporting cast that much better up front and around in Pittsburgh? Is the coaching that much better in Pittsburgh to get Haskins? Is the culture that much better in Pittsburgh to get Haskins where he needs to be? It'd be a very interesting, endorsement of Haskins' skills, a very big indictment of what truly was going on with the Red Tails. But
You know what? I'll be honest with you. And Mike Patton had a couple more things in the chat. He mentioned Michael Vick and Josh Dobbs were also backups to Big Ben in Pittsburgh as well, too.
mm-hmm.
But to your point, I think Pittsburgh has always been a place to resurrect your career. Michael Vick, he had a last chance in Pittsburgh. You mentioned Charlie Batch.
Doesn't have to be just quarterbacks. D'Angelo Williams came in and did a great job backing up in the running back. Deuce Staley came in and joined the running back committee.
Well, when I say that, I think Dwayne Haskins is in the right situation because, there's a lot of love in Pittsburgh to give. They're very loyal to people who are loyal to them at this point. And Mike Tomlin has an ability to get the best out of players. Mm-hmm. I think he does reach Dwayne Haskins because you mentioned before Washington at the time before Rivera got there was just dysfunctional completely.
Correct.
It was dysfunctional from the top down. We're talking about from Daniel Snyder all the way through, as we all know, with the entire incident and the scandal with everybody in between. So I say that to say this. I'm not saying Dwayne Haskins, got a raw deal because listen, if you don't study your playbook and you go out to the club, that's your fault.
Exactly.
There are points to, yes, Dwayne Haskins wasn't good, but there's also points where coaching didn't do him right. Dwayne Haskins was very immature. He wasn't that guy, and sometimes it takes guys a little bit longer maturity to get to be the player they need to be. And sometimes some players aren't ready for the fame and the fortune from the very beginning. I
don't think Haskins would respond to a disciplinarian either. If I'm remembering back, it would have been Jay Gruden that was coaching, I think. If that's the case, Gruden's temperament, in my mind, granted, this is speculation, but a Gruden, in my mind, would not be inclined to reach a Haskins type. Tomlin, on the other hand, somebody who's more of a player coach, it makes sense.
And Jay Gruden wasn't exactly the best leader in the world either. There've been better leaders in the world more than Jay Gruden. You look at, I don't know, General Akbar. He was one.
Akbar.
So. Yes, Admiral Akbar was two. Okay, so General and Admiral were both better leaders than Jay Gruden. Yeah. Okay, you can add. Even Bugs Bunny in Space Jam 2 was a better leader of organizing men in cartoons than Jay Gruden. Okay.
Well, he had multiple species of animal, I think.
And he got them all to play on the same team.
Right?
And they won successfully. Bugs Bunny is 2-0 by basketball. But
talk about clutch.
Yes, exactly. And he, in this one, in Space Jam 2, give LeBron James credit because other players scored. In the first Space Jam, I think only Bugs and Lola were the only people to score. And Bugs took the game, Bugs had the game-winning shot in Space Jam 2.
Absolutely. Elmer definitely playing the role of Draymond Green in that initial version of oh, Lord.
He takes 1 week. He was been waiting for this all week.
I even drive. I talk about that I might end up in his home state, and he's throwing me all this love. I love it.
Listen, John. If it was John Gruden, he'd be a Gruden grinder. But in this case, no. Honestly, I say it like this: when you see Haskins in Pittsburgh, you want to cheer for him. You want to be, we want him to be successful. And Mike also mentioned the Pat about Pittsburgh saved Joe Hayden's career as well too.
Very much correct.
I say it's been more than just Mike. It's just the Pittsburgh culture. It saves players. It makes players better than what it makes players rejuvenate them, put them back in the right spot before when nobody gave an opportunity. So it's great to see Dwayne Haskins back on the field. Like I said, I just remember Haskins being that guy at Ohio State, just launching passes left to right against that wonderful Big Ten defense. Those defenses he played in the Big Ten. And Kyle, speaking of guys launching, in New York tomorrow, the preseason opener for the New York Jets tomorrow is to take on the New York Giants. Big stories. Besides, we all know Daniel Jones is going to play because Daniel Jones doesn't want to get hit. I get it. All right. They do enough tackling and hitting in Giants practice because they all were fighting each other the week before. All right. All right. For those who missed it, the Giants got into it. It was a late hit. I think Evan Ingram was offended by a late hit on a Giants offensive player where he went and attacked his own teammate, which led to a brawl on the field, which led to the starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, being at the bottom of the pile.
How does that even happen? I haven't seen.
I thought the quarterbacks wore the red shirts. Like, you're not supposed to hit the quarterbacks. And secondly, why is Daniel Jones pulling a full-fledged replacement in Keanu Reeves and jumping in the fight? He went Scott Bakula in necessary roughness.
Nice Rob.
He went necessary roughness inside the bar with Manu and Sinbad.
And he was wanting to party.
Yeah, and you know what? The Giants players are partying and running through laps the rest of the practice.
Well, I mean, listen.
But the key for the thing that we're watching this game tomorrow, Kyle, is the debut of Zach Wilson. He's going to play the first 2 series, and it's not been a pretty early start for Zach Wilson, because the reports out of New York are saying this guy's not too good. I wonder what show said that he wasn't going to be all that good.
I tried to tell you people, him beating up on UCF, him getting past, or no, Coastal won that game. Excuse me. Will Zach Wilson throw an INT tomorrow? Yeah, probably, buddy.
And
I think so.
The second he throws an INT, Fireman Ed's jumping on the field. I know it's coming. Fireman Ed's going to tackle him at the 10-yard line. But it's going to be interesting to see what Zach Wilson can do. And Rodney says he ain't running no laps. Rodney, I can't tell you the last time he ran a lap. All right.
Rodney not running laps is the reason I'll beat him in the 40. It's that simple.
Hey, listen. You know what? I'm not going to go there with that, because that's actually Kyle's on fire tonight. You know, Kyle, I'm going to have you start taking more weeks off, because you are on one tonight. Speaking of things that are on one, can someone explain to me what's going on? Because Travis in the chat, we had Travis on the show a couple weeks ago. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes,
Kyle, the word in Jacksonville, right? Urban Meyer still is trying to figure out his starting quarterback.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up. Name me a coach that doesn't do this. Seriously. I mean, on occasion, immediately they'll say, yeah, that guy's the starter, obviously. Fine. How many guys? This is a thing that Andy Reid has done this. He's actually had a situation where he sat Donovan McNabb in favor of somebody who was much less good. I forget.
Was it Doug Peterson? Was it Doug Peterson?
I really don't remember back then. Like Donovan McNabb's playing is a while back now, but like he got sat in Philly, and it also happened in Washington, right? This is the thing coaches do. You put your quarterback, who we all know is starting because he's been in the Pro Bowls and all this, at the bottom of the depth chart because you're wanting to motivate him or whatever this other crap is, and then you elevate him. This is a move to me that worry not, Rodney. There will be no rescue necessary. As much as I love Uncle Rico's swagger, saying that he will not even defecate anymore because he is not about number 2 being in his life. And yes, that actually happened. I heard the tape.
Yeah, he said it.
Listen, coaches do this. This fits the Urban Meyer mystique of, giving the young guy a competition, making him battle for it, keeping things intriguing, because goodness knows he wants some other headline out there other than Tebow takes somebody deserving spot, right?
Listen, this screams Tim Tebow's playing quarterback sooner or later. I know Mike Patton in the chat. Big shout outs to Mike in the his touring the AFC show, because he had John Reed from I forgot what newspaper John's out in Jacksonville. He covers the Jaguars. They were talking about the quarterback situation last night on the show. And yes, we know it's not a contest at all, but here's the thing. It only becomes interesting, to Kyle's point, because some Tim Tebow is on the roster. All right. Stop. Kyle, listen, if it was any other coach in any other situation with any other Tim Tebow, this wouldn't be a story.
Okay, listen, you're a basketball guy. Maybe I'll do it in the style of a Michael Jordan gif. Stop it. Get some help.
Listen, if Urban Meyer sits Trevor Lawrence at any point in time this season, he's going to need some help, and hopefully Shad Khan will have to remove his foot from his behind.
Listen, man, that's a whole separate question. But listen, props to Mike Patton for validating me, but I didn't even need an expert to tell me about it. It fits. It's a smoke screen. Enjoy it.
I mean, Tim Tebow's main job is worry about how to get on the main roster. I get it.
I mean, he's
get it.
catching touchdowns in camp. It's a thing that happened.
He did what?
He caught touchdowns in camp.
This is never going to end, is it? This is not going to end well for all of us, is it, Kyle?
Hey, man, we called that a while back too, but I digress.
This is not going to end well for all of us. Something tells me Tim Tebow's will catch like 5 touchdowns this year. It's going to happen.
Hey, I can make you hurt less about this by talking about the Falcons defense if you want.
Why are we doing this tonight on the show, Kyle? We're not. Listen, we were not mentioning the Falcons on the show tonight. But what I want to mention is
I'm just having a small sparring event with you.
I can't stand you. Welcome back. You know what, Kyle? Speaking of things that are up, and especially competition with quarterbacks, especially rookies, Kyle, what's going on in New England is something different. Mac Jones' debut, Kyle, tonight, 13 for 17 for 87 yards, very accurate across the field. Yes, they're up 9-7 over the football team, but Mac Jones is making this a competition. Now, we did see Cam Newton in practice yesterday throwing bombs to wide receivers that we still haven't heard of. But Kyle, the real question is Cam Newton's job in danger in week 1?
In danger? No. I think Cam Newton will still be starting. However, I don't think it's a situation. We kind of alluded to this back at draft time. I really think this is a multiple quarterback offense. I think this is a situation where you have Mac Jones, who was drafted on the strength of intelligence and accuracy. Albeit in preseason, he's doing what he was advertised as what he would give us, right? Accuracy. Okay, granted, it's a preseason game. Settle down. The only preseason statistics that actually impressed me was Shaquem Griffin, a guy with one hand, leading his team in tackles. Okay, granted, preseason game, but that stat matters. Dude has one hand, led his team in tackles when he did it. I'm just saying. Anyways.
Okay.
Now, all that being said, it's good to see somebody delivering on what it is that they're advertised for. I could probably make an argument when healthy that Cam throws a bigger bomb down the field than Mac Jones, but that's never been really Cam's problem. It's passes that involve touch that have been the challenge for him. I would not be surprised. I don't think it'll happen exactly like this, but I would not be surprised if you see Cam Newton come out in, let's say, 3rd and longs for passes that might need touch, or let's say a 2nd and mid for passes that might need touch, where Cam's still on the field as an option to utilize as let's say, I don't want to say like a slot receiver, but something going on there like they did with Brady in that Super Bowl where he dropped the ball against the Eagles, right? Mm-hmm. Don't rule any of that out. I mean, we haven't really seen anything exactly like this since when Miami was using the Wildcat with Ronnie Brown, or if you don't like that, think about, Matt Schaub and Michael Vick as a pairing. I think that's the same kind of dynamic.
So you know what, Kyle? Let's play a little game. We're gonna play a game called What Will. So Kyle and I are gonna take and we'll do this for the NFL segment for the rest of the segment tonight. So what we'll do is we'll play a game called What Will. So Kyle, what will happen first? Justin Fields starting for the Chicago Bears, or Mac Jones starting for the New England Patriots, or Trey Lance in San Francisco? What will happen first?
Oh, it's Justin Fields by a mile. Like, let's be clear about something. The only quarterback Justin Fields has to supplant to be the best quarterback in Bears franchise history, going all the way back to the Decatur Staleys, is Jay Cutler. No
love for Sid Luckman?
Sid Luckman, good. He's number 2, right? Just like Bart Starr is the 2nd best quarterback in Green Bay behind Aaron Rodgers. I said it. Take that, Favre fans. Anyways, career interceptions leader. Listen, I'm all about Sid Luckman, and I said he was the bar that Jay Cutler had to jump over. And I really think Jay Cutler could have taken the Bears to another Super Bowl after Rex Grossman did it. Oh my God.
Right.
If he hadn't gotten hurt in the NFC Championship game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the bar's at Cutler. I think Fields can clear it. And no, I say all that to say he's the guy with the right mixture of good skill set and experience coming out versus what he's competing against. And what is he competing against in Chicago right now? Exactly. So, that really speaks for itself. I got Justin Fields all day.
And I think for me, situations happen best. Justin Fields. Here's the thing, Justin Fields, from what the footage is showing in camp with Justin Fields, he is just throwing the ball and slinging it all over the field for the Bears. Mm-hmm. We were discussing this in the 3-point conversion chat about Allen Robinson. Robinson has been spectacular with arguably some of the worst quarterbacks you possibly can throw with him. I mean, he's had some trash quarterbacks. I mean, he was the only thing that makes Allen Robinson's situation so bad was the year he got hurt was the year the Jaguars got to the AFC Championship game.
Right.
Because the 2 previous years he had trash break borders at quarterback, like trash. Mm-hmm. Last year he had Mitchell Trubisky the last 2 years throwing him the football in Chicago. Wolf. And Nick Foles. Wolf. All right. Nick Foles is only not a wolf when he's wearing an Eagles jersey. Every other team, he is trash.
Well, and he has to be backing up because when he's the starter, woof, as you say.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The only time Nick Foles is actually worth something is when he's playing in Philadelphia.
As a backup.
That's the only time. That's the only starter or backup. Anytime he is wearing an Eagles jersey.
When they make him the guy, that it goes wrong there too. Like, let's be clear.
Okay, so all this elite trolling will stop tonight because Rodney in the chat is saying, like Matt Ryan in the fourth quarter. No, because here's the thing with Matt Ryan in the fourth quarter. Matt Ryan gets it done. I can't say that about Sam Darnold. I can't say that about Teddy Bridgewater. I can't say that about any other previous Carolina Kitten quarterback.
Let's hold on.
Jake Delhomme was the last one that was worth a damn in the fourth quarter. Cam Newton wasn't saving nobody in the fourth quarter. All right. If Carolina got down and had to throw, Cam Newton wasn't saving nobody.
There are times where Cam has had clutch moments, though. I'd
rather have Jimmy Garoppolo in the fourth quarter than Cam Newton.
Well, the
only time Cam Newton was actually worth something was the MVP year, because that 15-1 Cam Newton.
I see an arm. Oh my gosh! No, but listen, I'll put it.
You see an arm in the background. I know Kyle. Kyle says he sees an arm. He sees an arm. You might as well go ahead and wave since you're back there.
Hi, Precious. The arm waves at me. Woo! It's like from the Addams Family. It's got
the Addams Family arm. Let's see if it drops something. But what I'm saying is, the 15-1 Cam Newton was like the final form Dragon Ball Z version of Cam Newton. Like, it was like the final form. Like, that year, Cam Newton was unstoppable until he got to the Super Bowl. He was unstoppable until he got to the Super Bowl.
Well,
Cam Newton that year was like LeBron James a year in Cleveland, carried them to the finals.
Comparing that Denver's Broncos team to the Spurs, I think that's an excellent comparison.
That Cam Newton was LeBron James, and the rest of the Panthers, that entire offense was Mo Williams, Sojourner Ilgauskas, Daniel Booby Gibson, and the rest of the Cavs in 2006 when they got to the finals. And that was Cam Newton's final form and the best time we ever see Cam Newton. But no, Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan in the fourth quarter. We know what it is. We just know he's going to have a defense over the last 10 years. And no, Carolina's not. Yeah, you know what? Here we go. And this is why Rodney will always be Rodney. In the AFC South, the Atlanta Falcons. Rodney, you're now finished for the evening, sir.
Yeah, I listen, Rodney. I appreciate all the love on that one. I can't agree with you. I can't do it.
Just like Cam Newton in the Super Bowl, he fumbles. All right, so back to what I was saying before the AFC South Atlanta Falcons came into play here. All right, so we talked about what will happen first in this situation. All right, Kyle. So I got another one for you. What will happen first?
Okay.
Robert Saleh's New York Jets making a turnaround, or the Cincinnati Bengals and Zach Wilson? Zach, can't remember Zach's last name. Coach of the Bengals turning it around. Which will happen first?
Oh, the Bengals all day. Simply because I believe in Joe Burrow more as a quarterback. I mean, and granted, I'm a little biased. I met the guy. I can speak to what's on his shoulders. And I have the evidence of knowing that he has put up the best offense in collegiate football history numbers wise. Right now, you could there are probably those who would debate that whether or not that LSU team was the best offense in college football of all time. That's why I say numbers wise, right? The game is different, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, say what you will about the Bengals, at least recently the Bengals have shown flashes when they have players. Their biggest problem has really been discipline, right? Anybody who has Vontez Burfict on their squad alongside Pac-Man Jones, you already got problems disciplinary abundantly occurring within your walls. And when they got rid of
pretty good wrestling, but you got a wrestling good tag team though, because Pac-Man Jones was a tag team champion.
MMA cage fight, absolutely 100%. Both Antonio Brown and Big Ben Roethlisberger would agree with you on that, I'm sure. But for me, it's as for all the problems the Bengals have had, they've won the division more recently than the Jets have. And I get that the Patriots exist in the AFC East for the Jets, but so too do the Ravens in the AFC North as well. So it's not like they don't have their own demons, right? Brian Billick and John Harbaugh have been an excellent pair of coaches for that team as well. But Zach Wilson, Zach Morris. Joey B's running for his life. I get you, but by the same token, they just got better stuff going on. And you don't think Zach Wilson isn't running for his life? At least at the end of the day, right now today, Joey B has targets. Sure, what does Zach Wilson have? Even less. And at the end of the day, the Jets just have more problems than the Bengals do. And I'll leave it.
And Kyle, I'm going to disagree on this one. I'm going to actually say the Jets in this situation. I'm going to tell you why. You mentioned the discipline on the defense of the Bengals. Discipline has cost the Bengals games with key first downs happening when things happen with Burfitt or guys just not being completely disciplined. And the other part, Rodney made a great point. The Bengals offense line might be the worst in the NFL. All right. They didn't address in the offseason. And Kyle, you had screamed up and down that Penny Sewell should have been the pick in Cincinnati, especially when they had a chance to get him. Because you had your franchise quarterback go down with a knee injury last year because he had no protection because he was running for his life.
Oh, yeah, right out of every given Sunday. I'm surprised Cameron Diaz wasn't shouting at the TV.
To quote Chuck D from Public Enemy, running for your life. Joey Burrow was running for his life last year. Very simple. But I'll say this, at least in the case of Robert Saleh in the Jets, he already have a pretty good defense. CJ Mosley is back on the Jets this year. They have discipline on defense. Yes, Jamal Adams is gone, but they have a pretty good defensive team and a defensive head coach. The one thing about the AFC East this year is you can fight for second place in this division this year because the other three teams outside of Buffalo, there are real issues with the other three teams. New England's quarterback situation is still up in the air, and we still can't name receivers on the New England Patriots. Okay, it is what it is. The New England Patriots are like a grocery store of employees. They have grocery store receivers over there. If you look at the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins have all the talent in the world, but the question is Tua Tagovailoa 100% healthy? And number two, is he ready to make that next step? We don't know. Because the team
about not addressing the offensive line, don't make me get back on my soapbox.
No, I didn't. Well, listen, I said they've done a better job on protecting offensive linemen than the Jets have.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the offensive line's issue in Miami. What I'm saying is, is Tua, can Tua put this all together, and is the team 1 year early? Because they might still need one more year of seasoning inside the crock pot before we serve the Dolphins being a contender.
Well, hey, Brian Flores is on the 5-year mission to take the Dolphins where they haven't gone before, at least in this millennium. So
Mike's point about the Patriots having we're receiving two tight ends. Hunter Henry still is not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He still hasn't put on pads. So with that being said, that's one of your two tight ends that are not on the field. As Belichick said, he's doing everything he's required. But what he's not doing is he's not playing right now. Okay. But I look at the Jets, and defense always turns things around before offense does. If you have a good defense, your offense can be trash. But as long as your defense can keep you in games, your offense is going to make a play or two. You can't get shut out in every single game. You can't kick field goals every week. You're bound to score touchdowns eventually.
I'll say this: the best part of your stance, wrong as I believe it to be, I'm joking.
That's fine.
Is the rest of the division really is a factor, right? I mean, while I don't believe the Steelers are a fraction of what they were this time,
Cleveland's good.
30 years ago, Cleveland is much better. The Ravens are still the class of the division. At the end of the day, the Bengals have more to go through. And I personally believe Roethlisberger doesn't finish the season. I believe he gets hurt before the end of the season. Hopefully I'm wrong. But if that does happen, the Bengals should then find it an accomplishment to make it the third in that race. Whereas to your point, the battle for second is rampant in the AFC East.
Speaking of AFC East, Kyle, next on the what will happen. What will happen first and become a better pocket passer? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Kyler Murray? Because all three of them can run, but what's holding them back from being on that level is what Russell Wilson was being like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and that's harnessing your running until you have to, but beating teams with your arm. So which one of these three quarterbacks will be able to do it first?
See, I'm going to get L-Jack by default here because he's already had games where he's thrown for damn near 400 yards, but his team didn't do the job for him, right? These situations have come up where everybody throws Lamar Jackson under the bus. And listen, while I believe his MVP should go to Russell Carrington Wilson, it isn't because I think Lamar Jackson's bad. L-Jack, his rookie year, when he did what he did in the back half of that Charger game, where he did lose, but he looked really good. And from that point on, I said he would win a playoff game, which he has done. However, who's his best receiver again? Exactly.
Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
He's an elite. Mark Andrews is an elite level tight end. The other two quarterbacks on the list, Josh Allen and one Kyler Murray, have top 5 receivers to throw to on a regular basis.
One of them has a top 3 receiver in the league in DeAndre Hopkins. And Stephon Diggs was magic that I predicted this time literally last year. So, yeah, by default, I got to kind of lead towards L-Jack just because I'm thinking at some point he'll get a weapon. But I don't think Josh Allen's far off of that either, frankly, because of the tools he has. The requirement for him to be a pocket guy is going to be far more easy to fulfill, right? I mean, heck, we mentioned Stephon Diggs. We mentioned what was going on. See, it gets a little awkward because of the whole situation with Cole Beasley and things going on in there. His availability, I don't want to get into the whole COVID discussion, but his availability is interesting. But Emmanuel Sanders, I believe, is there now. And Dylan Gabriel is a fantastic number 3. His rookie year, he showed us that.
Not Dylan Gabriel. You're talking about
Gabriel Davis. Sorry. Dylan Gabriel's still playing out at UCF. It's that Gabriel law thing. I saw the general mention he thinks it's Kyler Murray. I don't agree because I think Kyler Murray becoming a pocket quarterback at this point in his career playing in – way to bring race into it again, Rodney. That's a joke. The reason why I don't think it's Kyler Murray is I think playing in that division at this point in his career, him trying to be a pocket guy, air quotes, is a mistake. I think Kyler Murray needs to leave the pocket in those situations. He's very smart about avoiding taking hits already. Lean into that for now. Wait for some of these defenses to start to lose people to money issues and stuff, like the Rams will very shortly do, The Niners seem to be under control for now in terms of their contracts, but the Seahawks don't have much of a defense either. So, yes, but General, I'm not saying that can't happen. I just don't think it's the best strategy if I'm Cliff Kingsbury at this point.
I think between the three quarterbacks, to the point of Kyler Murray, anytime your division has Nick Bosa, Aaron Donald, and anything that Seattle throws at you, running might be your best option. Okay. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a wide receiver to throw to. Even though Brashard Perriman was taken in the first round, the kid from Minnesota, Bateman, he's hurt now, but they haven't given Lamar Jackson an adequate number one receiver. They should have traded for Julio Jones. That's what they should have done the offseason.
You and I both wanted to really see that. Yeah,
they should have went and got Kenny Galladay from the Lions. They didn't go out and go get somebody to go get the ball down the field. So my choice, to Rodney's point, I'm taking Josh Allen, because sneakily, the Bills, even though they play in a place that's cold, that doesn't really know for throwing, it hasn't seen a throwing quarterback since Jim Kelly be successful. Allen has a cannon for an arm. Stephon Diggs is an elite wide receiver. He's really, really good. And, he was very underrated in Minnesota because he was playing next to Adam Thielen, but now it's his team. You mentioned Gabriel Davis. You mentioned I think Knox is still there at tight end. They have a very good team around him.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, he's getting more accurate and better with his throwing decisions. And I feel like he might be the guy that's more in the pocket, because you're playing in Buffalo. You don't want to take those hits by going outside of the pocket. So I'm taking Josh Allen in this one. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you're wrong either way. But I just think Baltimore is just letting him down, Jackson down, by not giving it to him, because running quarterbacks don't have the longest shelf life. So the only way to fix a running quarterback is giving him wide receivers. Yeah. Look what it did for Donovan McNabb. McNabb got a good year receiver. He got Terrell Owens. He turned into Russell Wilson, and they got to the Super Bowl.
Well, he was getting to NFC Championship games with Fred X and a guy that was regularly referred to as Todd Stinkston instead of Todd Pinkston, right?
Not related to CeCe Peniston, but continue.
What the hell? Anyway.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I thought it sounded good when I said it. I was thinking a second ago.
I digress. Please continue. Get one of your famous segues to get you the hell out of that.
All right. Last one before we go. Mike mentioned the fact that the Ravens have Sammy Watkins. But to your point, he's always injured.
Correct.
All right, Kyle. Last what will for this week. And so, Kyle, what will happen first? The Dallas Cowboys and their fans melting down, complaining about Mike McCarthy first, or the Packer fans worried that Aaron Rodgers gets off to a hot start knowing that he won't be there next year. What will happen first?
Oh, it's McCarthy all day, because it's already begun to happen, Danny Thompson. You really should have kind of thought this one through a little bit better. We already had the defense fall apart last year. So that coaching staff's gone. Mike McCarthy doesn't have anybody left. Listen, I like Mike McCarthy as a coach. I think, at least in the surroundings of Dallas being what they are, I think the game may have passed him by. I think it's a situation where this team is dependent on one Dakota Prescott way too much. And now we're seeing what dividends it's throwing. Now, granted, I like their receiver core a lot. Their O-line isn't a fraction of what it used to be, but they're still pretty bleeding good. And Ezekiel Elliott, I think, while he might be completely overrated, I agree with you, Rodney. But hey, listen, Skip should have been canceled long before Mike McCarthy's fatness came into question. That all being said, I don't think McCarthy is a fit with that team, and I think that's the best case scenario. I could go and play the Joe Gibbs defense possibly and say that the game passed him by. I at this point. The question Ronnie asked is Ezekiel Elliott washed? I'm not going that far, but he's damn sure overpaid. I think Zeke can still be a fantastic running back. I think he could still be a primary running back. I don't think he should be a franchise player with the way he's gotten paid. And the fact that they paid Ezekiel Elliott that way also then made it worse when Dak got to the negotiating table, because he deserved more than Zeke, and not just because of him being the quarterback. So, I think it's McCarthy by far.
To me, I think it's Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to tell you, because if the Green Bay Packers get off to a hot start, knowing that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there, knowing Devontae Adams doesn't have a contract, and everybody walks off the table at the end of the season, the four-alarm fire will begin in Green Bay. The one thing the Packers need to have is a slow start to the season. That way, the whole Aaron Rodgers situation can kind of blow over for a few weeks, and then maybe they can start building some goodwill towards Aaron Rodgers. If the Packers start 6-0, all we're going to talk about is the more the Packers keep winning, the less time Aaron Rodgers has in Green Bay. The countdown goes to, will the San Francisco 49ers trade everybody in Trey Lance to go get Aaron Rodgers? The question is, will the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they somehow if they can stay being elite, will they go after Aaron Rodgers? The question about Aaron Rodgers going to every team that's right on that Super Bowl cusp will happen if the Packers start to a good start, because no one's going to care if Green Bay's 6-0. Everybody's going to care about if Aaron Rodgers gets out of this situation, because you're wasting Aaron Rodgers' prime, his last part of his prime years. That's all we're going to hear. Because the one thing in Dallas, I know you mentioned McCarthy and it got rid of the entire defensive situation. If it would have been for Prescott's injury, the whole offensive team would have been gone as well too. As long as Prescott's on the field and McCarthy has realized that Ezekiel Elliott doesn't need 25 carries a game to be effective, right around 18 to 20, and let Tony Pollard get some of that punishment to save Elliott for week 17, for game 17 when you need him the most. I think that will make sure that ensures that Dallas should win the NFC East this year. They should win it.
They are the favorites, right?
I think between them and Washington, to me, Washington's quarterback situation is the reason why I cannot designate them as a division winner.
Same here.
Because Ryan Fitzpatrick, we haven't seen Fitzpatrick put it together for a full season since he was in Buffalo the first time around. You're having a rookie and Tyler Heineke as your guy. I'm not sure about that. The Giants, they're one injury away on offense from this whole thing being a complete disaster. Barkley's coming off an injury. Kenny Golladay can't stay healthy either, and you're worried about how long Daniel Jones is going to stand upright. Philadelphia, it's the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is going to be running around, but until Deshaun Watson's traded, that's all we're going to hear in Philadelphia is Deshaun Watson in Philadelphia. Until Watson comes walking through that front door, the Eagles will not be winning a division anywhere. If the Eagles end up with Deshaun Watson, then Kyle, guess what? All bets are off at that point, because Deshaun Watson due for all those numbers with all that trash in Houston. Imagine with Zach Ertz, imagine with Dallas Goedert, and actually Jalen Reagor, and now you have the kid Devontae Smith. Imagine what Deshaun Watson can do with those targets, because they're way better than what he ever had in Houston last year.
That's fair.
All right. So as we transition from the NFL to, Kyle, let's stay in the football family, because, Kyle, it's the first time we actually can do this because the college football top 25 is out. And, Kyle,
the coaches poll, at least.
The coaches poll is out, Kyle. But you know what? We're getting closer and closer to that week 1 kickoff with Rodney's Clemson Tigers taking on the Georgia Bulldogs in Charlotte at the Duke Mayonnaise Kickoff Classic. First and foremost, Kyle, before I get into this, who the hell named this the Duke Mayo Classic? First off, mayonnaise is trash. Okay.
Oh, you're one of these guys.
Okay. I am, dag nabbit. All right. Mayonnaise is the equivalent of Dennis Schroeder's agent when it comes to picking contracts.
Wow. At any rate.
All right. Mayonnaise is trash. All right. It is straight up 1,000% trash. Mayonnaise is basically the equivalent of Flavor Aid.
So what you're trying to say is mayonnaise is just as overrated as the ACC. Got it.
No. Because you know what, Kyle? Speaking of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Kyle, in the coaches' top 10, two of the top 9 teams, Kyle, are from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm saying 3 because I do count Notre Dame, even though they're not officially a member. But please,
Notre Dame's not in the damn conference. Because here's the thing:
they might as
Notre
well.
Dame, Notre Dame,
last year. They deserve a little bit of credit. I'm just saying.
Bullshit. Because here's the thing: Notre Dame is in the ACC for every other sport.
Hey, me doing that actually makes the ACC better than it actually is. So
no, because here's the problem. We all know Notre Dame wants no part of the ACC because Notre Dame doesn't want to give any of that Peacock and NBC money. All right.
Right, but it has nothing to do with the product on the field, which is far superior than the rest of the ACC teams.
We will not slander the ACC. No, we will not slander the ACC in the show because guess what, Kyle?
Oh, no. Listen, you want to come out and say mayonnaise unanswered, that's fine. But me, I am Brock Lesnaring the bejesus out of the ACC. You better watch. Here I come.
All right, so Kyle, let's look at the top 10 real quick. Of course, we all know there's 65 first-place votes for the coaches, and 63 of them went to Alabama. They are preseason number 1. Number 2 is the Clemson Tigers. They're falling at number 2. Oklahoma is at 3. Then they had the other 2 first-place votes. Ohio State and Georgia round out the top 5. Kyle, do you have any issues with these 5 teams being in the top 5?
How in the hell am I supposed to take Oklahoma seriously at number 3? Can we be honest here for 30 seconds? Like, I don't get that at all. Like, let's assume they do that. They're just going to tank in the playoff anyway. So, no. Like, come on. The Big 12. Oh, by the way, you want to know what the top 5 teams do that Oklahoma does, or the rest of the top 5 teams do that Oklahoma doesn't do? Play defense. Okay? Get out of my face with that. They have 2 number 1 votes. This is why the coaches poll is trash. All it's really good for is to give you an idea of the perception that's out there for these various teams, which is what really actually I find to be the biggest positive for other teams down the scale. Go ahead there, Danny Thompson. We'll explain why as we go through that.
Rodney, I'm not even going to let that last comment slide because we both know who the best quarterback in the ACC is. 6 through 10, Texas A&M, the Notre Dame Independent Fighting Irish. You have Iowa State, North Carolina, and then Kyle, of course, everybody's Cinderella story, the Cincinnati Bearcats. We're saying Cinderella because they're not Power 5. They're outside the Power 5 of the the AAC, but they're the top 10. Kyle, here is your thoughts. I want to hear my thoughts on 6 through 10. All right. So Iowa State at number 8. Didn't we do this last year? Didn't they lose the first game of the season to like Lafayette, Louisiana, something like that, and they got embarrassed on national television? Are we doing this again?
Yeah, we are. The Big 12 love here is ridiculous.
Okay. The other part is North Carolina at 9. Now, I am the biggest Ramses fan you're going to find. Okay, if I had some Carolina horn ears, I'd be wearing it all throughout college football season.
It is a very cool logo. I'll give it that.
And Ramses is the best mascot in all of college sports. It is what it is, and I said it. And Mike, yes, it is a damn fine. Damn it. What I'm saying is, North Carolina at 9 could be the team in the top 10 that you're going to scratch your head at. They have a very good offense, but remember,
go ahead.
Their starting running back is now in the NFL. They're starting one of their main threats to wide receivers now also the NFL, but they return Sam Howell, who is the best quarterback in the ACC. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a quarterback that's actually played over a quarterback that started one game against Notre Dame in a non-ACC quote-unquote championship game because Trevor Lawrence had COVID. The issue with North Carolina is that are they kind of too high at 9? I'd prefer them to be under the radar and let them work their way up. Because if you say they're a top 10 team, there's still a lot of questions. Either A, North Carolina is that good, or the other remaining teams in college football have way more questions.
I think it's a bit of both, but
I will say this: North Carolina in the top 10 teams is the one that says 8-4 written all over it. And I'm a Heels fan.
What is it about their schedule that you think is difficult?
It's just every time North Carolina, with the exception of 1 year, has lived up to the preseason hype. That was the year we had Dre Bly and Ellis and that star-studded defense. That the only thing that we couldn't do was we couldn't score in Florida State. We lost 10 to 3. We lost 10 to 3 to Florida State that averaged almost 60 points a game that year.
I remember that.
Yeah, and Carolina was loaded on both sides of the ball, but Florida State was just that much better. if we had that type of defense with Sam Howell, I would definitely say top 10. The defense is good, but it's not elite. The offense has issues, but it's not elite. This says 8-4. It scares me because North Carolina's preseason top 10. But Kyle, we look at number 10. Speaking of number 10, let's talk about Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because two teams that open up the season, Kyle, I want to say in 2 weeks down in Central Florida, UCF and Boise State get together in a couple of weeks down over at Spectrum Stadium. Mm-hmm. And I only mention these two teams for this reason. Over the last 10 years, Boise State and UCF have been the poster children for the non-Power 5 schools across college football. Boise State, with, of course, their wins in the Fiesta Bowl. UCF, with the national championship they got in one of the polls, on top of the fact that they crashed the party in the Power 6 the last couple of years. Cincinnati did not play their best football game in their Power 6 game last year, and they lost. But in the New Year's 6 games, they didn't play their best game that day, but they're preseason top 10. Kyle, do you believe the theory?
They still had a shot to win it. Make sure you add that on.
Yeah, they didn't play the best game of the season because Cincinnati was dominant all season. Mm-hmm. Okay, and throughout the realm of the AAC, they were the best team. And Kyle, we might argue that Cincinnati team might have beaten UCF's best team from 2 years ago.
I'm not prepared to sign off on that, but we can get to that another
day. It'd be a hellified game because Ritter, that offense would have been a fool against that UCF defense.
At another juncture, my friend.
Continue. But yes, like I said, but it's a very good argument. So, I mean, what I'm saying is that that UCF team was great on D. They just gave a lot of points, and Cincinnati could score points. That's all I'm saying. But when you look at Cincinnati, Kyle, do you believe the theory that Boise State and UCF crawled so that Cincinnati could be at this stature right now?
Oh, sure. Absolutely, that's true. But I think here's the other thing I want to add in too, right? Some of the preseason poll perception is very dependent on how much change is going on in your organization, right? A lot of the UCF fanhood out there is just up in arms that after a national championship, they were only ranked 23rd in the preseason poll, whereas Cincinnati loses their NY6 game and is 10th. But the difference there is there was a coaching change, for one, in Scott Frost to Josh Heupel, right? There were a few guys that had then gone on to the NFL. Traquan Smith at receiver, for example.
Gabe Davis.
No, wrong year. That's the next year. It's the corner that went. I can't believe it.
From the Vikings, Mike Hughes.
Hughes, thank you. He got drafted. The Knights also lost their left tackle, Aaron Evans, and Wyatt Miller.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got that wrong. Wyatt was still there one more year. Aaron Evans, as in the paint, the artist who painted the picture above me, he was gone. He went to the NFL. Was on the Eagles roster. The point is that they had lost all that. The entire coaching staff was obliterated, right? And there was a lot more going on. UCF this year, coming off of last year's struggles, has a lot of coaching changes, a lot of transfer players and stuff, a lot of transition. There's a reason why they're only ranked allegedly 34th, okay? I think what's going on here is Finkel's still the coach. Ritter's still the quarterback. That's still a damn tough group up front in the trenches. I know they've lost some pieces, but that's still a really strong set of guys out there, and the coach is coming back, and the quarterback's coming back. I think there's a lot going on there in the coaches' heads. I say the committee, I mean the coaches' heads, that they like that consistency. They're consistent in that they like consistency when they vote for this. So I think a lot of that has to do with it too. Certainly, Boise State laid the groundwork for every Cinderella that would come thereafter, UCF included. Danny White and what he did in getting the championship hype up there in 2017 and all that for another American Athletic Conference team to do its thing was very clearly what set the table for Cincinnati to be what it is here now. All that being said, we both know they won't stay there.
I think because Cincinnati will end up in the top 5 for this is over with. I think that, and here's the reason why, because you look at the top 9 in front of them, a lot of these teams play each other. Like I said, as much as I love North Carolina, I'm not sold on them. I'm not sold on Iowa State either. A&M find some kind of way to lose some dumb game throughout the season that they know they're not supposed to lose because it's Texas A&M and the SEC. You know what? I'm going to say this real quick. A&M is never going to win the SEC because they're not supposed to be there. That's what happens. Every A&M team from now on, from the time they join the SEC until the time they leave, every good team they'll have will find some dumb way to lose. Last year, they couldn't hold together against Florida. What it did, it costed them everything.
You know what, Danny Thompson? I was disagreeing with you before. I just looked at Cincinnati's schedule. I do believe there is a path to the top 5 that you described. First of all, within the conference, I think everybody can safely say that UCF is their toughest on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But in week 4, or I should say their fourth game of the year, they go on the road to South Bend, Indiana.
And then you win.
The Fighting Irish, for those who don't know of Notre Dame, if they win that game,
all bets are off the table.
Now, granted, they can't lose a single bleeding game because if they do, the best case scenario obviously be if they lose to UCF. But like the next credible team is what? Navy?
Memphis, maybe Memphis.
Memphis isn't on the schedule.
Mm.
So you're out of luck there. Yeah, it's after Notre Dame. It's Temple, UCF, Navy, Tulane, Tulsa, USF, SMU, and ECU. So the only other really credible team, air quotes, would be UCF, and that's if they beat Boise.
So the question, the schedule does break for Cincinnati to get in the Final Four. They just have to handle business in South Bend, handle the guys from Florida, and whitewash everybody else. But Kyle, your point, they got a good chance of doing this.
I don't know about good chance. I will say it's possible. There is not a good chance of them beating Notre Dame.
No, what I'm saying is, Kyle, if they can get past Notre Dame and get past UCF, whitewashing the other 9 teams on the schedule should be almost a given. Almost.
You can't say that because you have a championship rematch in Tulsa on the schedule.
But Kyle, you get what I'm saying. I say it's a good possibility they should whitewash the rest of the schedule. Tulsa.
Yeah.
Tulsa. Okay.
Listen, Admiral Akbar up in the corner. I'm going to call Tulsa a trap game.
Listen, trap music. Trap music is great because Atlanta has a trap museum. All right. So 11 through 25, we'll go through just real quickly. Florida at 11, Oregon at 12, LSU is 13, USC, and the one in California it's at 14. The Badgers are at 15, Miami's at 16, Indiana 17, Iowa 18. I don't know why they put the Big Ten back to back. Texas at 19, Penn State 20, Washington 21, Oklahoma State's at 22. Louisiana's at 23, Coastal Carolina 24, and Ole Miss at 25. So, Kyle, if you look at this right now, you have 4 non-Power 5 schools in the top 25.
That's amazing, yeah.
Hey, listen, we're getting progress for the small schools.
And I can make an argument that there should be more there. Texas has no business. Iowa State has no business. Iowa has no business. I would rather see Liberty, UCF, and Boise State in there ahead of those 3 teams because those 3 teams are far more credible than Iowa State, Iowa, and Texas.
Don't sleep on TCU.
Huh?
Don't sleep on the Horned Frogs.
I didn't say a word about Texas, Christian. I said Texas. You need to relax.
No, I'm saying so he was mentioning teams that that should be in.
Yeah. Teams just within Texas, TCU should be ahead of Texas. I completely agree with you. I have my own issues with Big 12 teams in general, but hey, Texas technically isn't one of those anymore. Ha!
Yay, because now the Big 12 will turn into the Pac-12, and Oklahoma and Texas will go get their heads kicked in by Alabama every year now going forward, just like Texas A&M.
Or maybe the Big 12 is absorbed by the American Athletic Conference, is forced to embrace defense, and becomes better all the way around.
Well, the word was, Kyle, around the streets that the Big 12 and the Pac-12 were talking about a super conference, which basically means like 18 teams in one conference stretched out between 75 states. And none of this foolishness makes sense because, first and foremost, Colorado should have never been a Pac-12 team. Utah should have never been a Pac-12 team either. It is what it is.
Well, I'll put it this way then. You're right. They will sink into mediocrity, and the American will surpass them both.
And basically, we'll lose two Power 5 conferences because guess what? They won't be Power 5 conferences because they're all in the SC freaking C at this point.
See, at this point, UCF has to be added in because it's so close to Disney that owns Star Wars. So then the SEC could have the Imperial March as its theme song.
I mean, might as well. The SEC owns everything else, it seems like, in college football. Teams that were not the top 25, you mentioned before, UCF got a lot of votes. Liberty had 68 votes. The top 5 teams that had most votes without being in was Utah, Northwestern, Arizona State, Auburn, and Liberty.
Yeah, Utah love, man. That doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me.
What do you mean? Utah getting that many votes? He says, really?
It doesn't make any sense to me. Over Northwestern? Hell, at least Northwestern was in their conference championship game against a guy who was a pretty solid quarterback. I'm just saying. Utah, Danny Thompson, deal with it. They haven't been anything that's impressed me since Alex Smith was there. I said it. In
your face. All right, and before we go, Kyle, let's look. CBS Sports, senior college football writer Jerry Palm, Kyle, so we talked top 25. He gave out his projection for the college football playoff and the New Year's Day 6. So, Kyle, let me give you his projections, and I want you to tell me what you're thinking. So he said Final Four. He had Oklahoma taking on Alabama, and he had Clemson and Ohio State in the other semifinal. About those 4 teams?
Good for him playing it safe, I guess. It could be a situation where Oklahoma tanks and we have 2 SEC teams in the top 4 again with Alabama and Georgia. And if they beat Clemson the first week, that'll be interesting.
All right, so the New Year's 6-day bowl game. So we have the Sugar Bowl this year, which is slotted for SEC Big 12, as of course as it normally is. They have Georgia, Iowa State. Kyle, what do you think about that one?
That's ridiculous. Iowa State's not going to make it to a damn New Year's 6 bowl. Next.
All right, the Rose Bowl, as we all know, is traditional Pac-10, Pac-12, Big 10, Pac-12. The Badgers taking on the Ducks.
I'd love to see that game so we can finally establish that once again, Oregon and the Pac-12 is a waste of my time. Go Badgers in that case. But yeah, I think that's a reasonable pairing.
All right, so the Fiesta Bowl will have 2 at-large teams. You're looking at Texas A&M versus Cincinnati.
Texas A&M, I don't think holds on to be that good. I have more confidence that you'll see Notre Dame there than A&M.
And also, speaking of Notre Dame, in the Peach Bowl, they have LSU and Notre Dame in Atlanta. That would sell that place out easily.
It would. I don't know that LSU makes that mark. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think you see a North Carolina team that did its job but got Clemsoned playing in that bowl if it's an at-large bid.
This quote is amazing. Thank you, Rodney. But we have that entire statement is just completely bad all the way around. All right. Rodney also says when Carolina and Miami go 75 and 66, he wants to hear an apology.
Miami's going to struggle because De'Aaron Keene in his injury situation.
Mike Patton in the chat. Big 12 is like the Big 12.
Like basketball on grass. No. There's not enough offense for that, General.
And Cortland Griffin stopped through the chat. Of course, he first off and says, he's late, but better late than never. Cortland, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, man. Thanks for coming, Cortland. Appreciate it.
He says that yep, exactly. Cortland's statement made the camera fall. That DJ Ukulele is the 4th best quarterback in the ACC.
Do you see anybody arguing with that? I mean,
listen.
I'm not arguing. Are you arguing with that? I'm not arguing with that.
Nope. No arguments here. No arguments here. But you know what, Kyle? As we go into it, before we transition out the show tonight, we still haven't talked about the NBA. As we get out of football,
please,
let's talk about the NBA, Kyle, because the most important thing about NBA offseason is that Kawhi Leonard finally signed and all this foolishness is completely over. All right. The only major player that's available on the market is the Bulls' Lauri Markkanen, and Kyle, it's almost to a stalemate at this point. Markkanen is a restricted free agent of the Chicago Bulls and has told a Finnish newspaper he doesn't want to come back. He wants to be set free. The problem is, at this point in free agency, Kyle, no one has money.
See, you said that, and all I could think of was Freddie Mercury. I want to break free. I want to break free. And no, I'm not asking for Markkanen to dress up in drag, but that's okay.
So Lauri Markkanen has had talks, and his agent have had talks with the Dallas Mavericks about a sign and trade deal that would send Markkanen from Chicago to Dallas, because Chicago still owns his rights at this point because no one's made a tender offer. The Bulls, Kyle, has said, yes, we'll trade Lauri Markkanen, but we'll have to take a first-round pick in return.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Oh, no, the Bulls say, hey, listen, you can come back and play for us. Otherwise, you're at our mercy. No one has money at this point. And Kyle, speaking of money, I want to take this segment, this little part, Kyle, because I have something to get off my chest.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Dennis Schroeder's not had the best week in the world. All right.
Here we go.
Dennis Schroeder hasn't had the best week. But like in life, Dennis Schroeder did what a lot of people are scared to do. And I'll say this. And when I say things that people are scared to do, is people are scared to bet on themselves. All right. In cases like you're playing in poker or playing cards or anything like that, you have to bet the house. And at the time when Dennis Schroeder was offered that 4-year, $84 million contract in December of 2020, at the beginning of the Lakers season, as he was excelling with the Lakers, he turned the offer down because he thought he could get more money in free agency. Now, this was all before Kyle Dennis turned into the WB Frog when he couldn't sing anymore and went missing in the playoffs on a milk cart, as Kyle would say.
This cat, really?
Yes, he went straight to WB. He couldn't even do it anymore. He just sat there and croaked. He went down like the Lakers season went down because everybody went downhill at that point. LeBron and AD couldn't get it together. Dennis Schroeder fell down the toilet, and the Lakers went flaming down to the opening round of the playoffs. So Schroeder goes to the open market, told his German agent, his agency said that he deserved between $100 and $120 million. Yes. And then mind you, they didn't study the market very well. All right. This was a market where only 4 teams had $20+ million in cap space, and the Bulls had pretty much committed to Dennis Schroeder, to Lonzo Ball. Oklahoma City ain't spending money. All right. They're just willing to take your draft picks. And other teams weren't willing to pay Dennis Schroeder $100-something million. So Schroeder ends up basically in a market where it dried up, getting 1 year at $5.7 million as a mid-level exception with the Boston Celtics. Schroeder was a product of having a little bit of bad advice and also a market that broke his way at the wrong time. And when I say it broke his way at the wrong time, Kyle, is because the destination I thought for Dennis Schroeder in the offseason, if he's leaving the Bulls, if it wasn't a sign and trade, it was actually New York. The problem was
that's interesting.
The problem was the New York Knicks were able to get hometown hero Kemba Walker at an $8 million contract, aka Schroeder got screwed.
So what had happened
was the Knicks like, you know what, we can get Kemba, who's from New York, who's got a huge chip on his shoulder and doesn't have any issues. The only issue he has is his knees. And Kyle, he averaged 19 points and 5 assists a game as the third option in Boston.
He did.
Fresh off a year, he was an all-star in Charlotte 2 years ago. Schroeder didn't play any favors with nobody because of the fact that he didn't get along with his Laker teammates and does not have favorably the most reputable of reputations around the league. All right. Oklahoma City wasn't bringing him back. Atlanta damn sure wasn't bringing him back. And LeBron's like, you know what? You can leave.
That'll be all, sir.
Yes. So Dennis Schroeder's, people have flamed Dennis Schroeder. You turned down $84 million. You know what? It's happened. Because Dennis Schroeder isn't the first person to bet on himself. Did we laugh at DeMarcus Cousins when he turned down $100 million from the Pelicans right after his Achilles injury? Because he felt like he was a max player because Kyle, before he tore his Achilles, he was averaging 26 points and 14 rebounds for the Pelicans.
That's true.
Okay? You all can laugh at Victor Oladipo turning down $114 million from the Pacers, but know the backstory behind it. Oladipo wanted max money when he was in Indiana. He wanted a 4-year deal worth $175 million for 5 years because he was an all-star and qualified for it. Okay. Yeah, he turned it down. Pacers like, you know what? We're going to trade you. When the offer came from the Houston Rockets, who are arguably the worst team in the league at 2 years at $45 million, it was a 1-and-1. Oladipo wanted security. He wanted to be in Miami. So guess what? He got traded to Miami. But no one knew his hamstring would go out again, and he missed the rest of the season. So now he's on a 1-year deal for the minimum. But Kyle, here's the problem. People can laugh at these players for making, educated guesses, but guess what, Kyle? At the end of the day, they're all millionaires. It's all millions to them.
All the way to the bank, baby.
5.9 million is still $5.9 million. All right. Most of us in America don't make 590,000.
True.
Okay, sure.
A lot of people don't make 59,000. Let's put that right.
So I get it. Oh, he turned down all this money. He bettered himself. And Kyle, in business, sometimes when you bet on yourself, you win, and sometimes you lose.
Hey, I've been there.
How many times? But Kyle, here's the thing: for how many guys that happened to Dennis Schroeder, how many guys have bettered themselves and actually made it out great?
Richard Sherman.
Thank you. There are guys who made it through in different sports, Kyle, that bet on themselves and got paid.
Joe Flacco.
Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
He broke out. It's like, I'm betting on myself, and did it. Guys do it all the time. Yes, Dennis Schroeder didn't go about it the right way. It is what it is. But guess what? He goes to free agency next year. And Kyle, the best part about free agency next year is 19 teams have max cap space or more next summer.
And if he lights it up in Boston, who knows?
Listen, all he has to do is shut up and play basketball. Don't be a bad teammate. Just do your part, and you will get paid. Julius Randle did it. Nerlens Noel did it. Kyle, and also, people say he asked for $100 million. Can you count how many you can count on two hands how many players hit $100 million? But here's the difference in their contracts. We're talking Steph Curry. We're talking Luka Doncic. We're talking Trae Young, Julius Randle, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard. You know what all those guys have in common, Kyle?
Championships?
They're all all-stars. They're all elite players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on the right way, but he plays with a terrible-ass team. Kyle Lowry got, $85 million, so did DeMar DeRozan. Guys weren't breaking $100 million. John Collins got $125 because he asked for $175, and the Hawks said, ha, 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 you go find it. Nobody had money this summer.
I didn't think championships was the answer. I was guessing.
Trophies, my friend, as Drake would say. Trophies.
Indeed.
But also the free agency this week, I said the NBA free agency market's almost down, and Summer League's upon us right now. So here's the thing with Summer League. Kyle, Summer League, you think NFL preseason is bad when it comes to overreactions? Summer League is the damn worst.
Oh, God. You ain't got to tell me. Listen, that's one even I know, kid.
NBA Summer League has to have the worst set of hot takes and opinions you'll ever find anywhere. And I will tell you this, why? Because I've done some dumb ones myself too. All right? It is what it is. Summer League is the king of hot takes. Because guess what? Summer League is NBA 1.5. It's not NBA 2.0 because these guys haven't gotten to the NBA just yet. They're playing games against guys trying to make the NBA. So it's a little bit better than college. What we have seen in Summer League is guys like Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga who play for G League Ignite, which is basically playing against guys in Summer League now, are actually lighting it up. Jalen Green has been going slap off for the Houston Rockets. Jonathan Kuminga's played really well in both Summer League stints for the Golden State Warriors. But Kyle, another name that's been coming up really well is Orlando's Jalen Suggs.
Yep. I wonder
which causes a complete conundrum for Magic fans because they have 9 million guards in the backcourt right now. They have Markelle Fultz, who's recovering from injury, but then they have first-round pick from last year, Cole Anthony. Another first-round pick they acquired, RJ Hampton. Now you got Jalen Suggs. They have guards for days, but Suggs is going to be a star in this league, and he's had an outstanding start to the season. And there have been some other guys. Now, I do have one problem with Summer League, Kyle. We talk about, getting ready for the NBA. The Portland Trail Blazers should be a damn shame to themselves what they're doing in Summer League, Kyle. They're basically making this a joke. When I say a joke, Summer League, they're trying to make the NBA, and also young guys don't, just trying to get a break. The people are betting on this in Vegas, Kyle, and the Blazers had the best odds to win. Why? because they have Michael Beasley, Kenneth Faried, and Emmanuel Mudiay along with Antonio Blakely. Okay. Like, you have a guy that won a gold medal with Team USA's NBA squad at FIBA. He has a gold medal for crying out loud. And Kenneth Faried, all-star, the Manimal. You have two top 7 lottery picks, and Michael Beasley, who's a walking bucket, and he's only 33 years old. You see, Michael Beasley's been around the league for 712 years. And Emmanuel Mudiay, who swears up and down he's 25. And then Antonio Blakely. And Kyle, you've never seen Antonio Blakely play, I'll say this. Antonio, if the Summer League had a Hall of Fame, Antonio Blakely would be first ballot Summer League Hall of Famer.
That's a backhanded one, isn't it?
But he's also a Summer League legend. He's also a G League legend. Kyle, this guy averaged 30 points a game for the Windy City Bulls and was getting buckets on a regular basis in Chicago. But he can't find a home. So the Blazers went out and got a whole bunch of damn ringers to go along with some quote-unquote rookies. Next, we're going to see the Blazers next year will bring back Neon Boudeau as well as Butch McRae.
Hey.
Yes.
And Hurley, yes.
Yes, they're going to bring all those back in next season. Also, I've heard they're talking about bringing Calvin Cambridge back. Oh, I'm sorry. The Lakers signed him because they need him on his bench right now. They also signed Quincy McCall from Lebanon.
For remembering Butch McRae, damn it.
All right, so last things before we jump out of here, Kyle. Big shout out to J.R. Smith this week.
Oh, boy, here we go. J.R.
Smith is going back to college, Kyle. He enrolled at the University of North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina this past week, Kyle. Smith had declared for the NBA straight from high school and was projected to go to North Carolina if he did not go straight to the pros. But on the other side, J.R. Smith is J.R. Smith. And Kyle, as he enrolls into North Carolina A&T, he is trying to get eligible to play golf.
You know what? I'm completely okay with this. Okay. Because he didn't have the college experience. And if he's trying to be a businessman in retired life, a good amount of business is done on the golf course. Not to mention with the NIL, can you imagine the edge he has in endorsement as a former NBA guy?
You know how much money North Carolina A&T can make for the golf program with J.R. Smith on the course?
All I'm saying.
Now, Kyle, but I wonder, since it's college, will Hennessy be able to sponsor the golf team?
He might have to downgrade it to Old English. But
1245. College kids can't afford Hennessy. All right. Ain't too many college kids affording Hennessy. All right. This is just to be completely real in this one. But no, big shout out to J.R. Smith. You know, it takes a lot to go back to college. You know, even no matter what age it is, Kyle, you know, we start lives at different points in life. For him to go back, like you said, after playing so many years in the NBA, for him to go back is great. I just wonder if the NCAA is going to allow him to golf at the same time. Wow.
Why not? Why the hell not?
Listen, I'm all for it. Kyle, speaking of all for it, also this was the final week for the Olympics highlights on Peacock with Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart. Now, for those who didn't have Peacock, I hate it for you. But if you get the free version, you can still watch the Olympic highlights. And Kyle, every other morning, I was entertained in watching Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg attempt to explain how the Olympics work. All I know is we need both of their asses in describing the Winter Olympics in Beijing this year.
Man, stop it. First of all, I can't get past the fact that I can't see Kevin Hart's feet under the desk. So there's that.
That was classic, by the way. All right. I think one of the funniest moments was when Snoop and Kevin decided to challenge the girl playing table tennis. And they got their ass kicked by both of them. And Snoop Dogg's chest got caved in by a spike from the girl.
That's amazing. Yes, you're right.
Listen, them two discussing equestrian and the horse crip walking was freaking classic. And Rodney, Peacock is not extortion. Stop being so damn cheap and get it's free.
No, Rodney. Don't listen to him. He's wrong here too. The CBS All Access, Paramount trash, Peacock, whatever. Stop it. Okay? All you're going to do is create a system where we can't get shows that we want when we want them, which is supposed to be on demand. Anyway,
it's freaking $4.99.
Really? That's your defense? You know what I get for $4.99? Or actually, it's a little bit more than that, but not too much more. I get D Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Okay. But I don't need Friends that badly in my life. Oh, wait, they couldn't even retain those rights, I don't think.
No, they're HBO Max. Now, see, Kyle, that's crazy. HBO Max is like $65 a month. You might as well have a damn cable price of HBO Max.
Hey, listen, I don't pay for HBO Max. My mom is a boomer who doesn't understand this internet stuff. So there you go.
And the other part is, Kyle, here's the thing. You know, we make fun of these streaming services and calling a whole bunch. You mentioned Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a ripoff. Okay, Black Widow. Listen, I pay for Disney Plus. Why the hell am I paying $30 to watch Black Widow?
Well, you got to watch it right away. Just wait. It'll be at the right price soon enough. Don't you worry.
I want to watch Black Widow now. I'm not paying $30 for it. At least with HBO Max, I can watch Space Jam without having to leave the house.
Great. So at the end of the day, my dude makes another Queen reference by saying, I want it all, and I want it now. There you go.
Damn it. Oh, Jesus. See, stuff like this, it gets us taken up. The FCC comes looking up for stuff like this.
What, comedy?
No, what Rodney's saying.
Oh, yeah, well. I mean, you know, Rodney. Anyways.
I mean, Rodney, one thing about Rodney, he is the height of a pirate.
Oh, man, why you got to compare him to Kevin Hart? Listen, I'm pretty sure Rodney's feet touch the bottom of the desk, okay?
Rodney is the height of the ECU pirate.
Shouts to Antoine Staley.
Gotta go shout to Big Twan. All right, Kyle. Any shouts before we go tonight? Because I think I'm running out of ammo here.
Hey, listen, shouts to every and all teachers who started school this week, along with the children, especially if you happen to be a teacher in the state of Florida, or with all this mask silliness where people are trying to be all up in arms about things they shouldn't be and all that. Thank you for being strong once again and shaping the minds of our youth. Boom.
All right, and Rodney says he's the height of an average man. Well, at least Rodney knows he is proud to be taller than Ludacris, Tory Lanez, and Muggsy Bogues. All right,
and
so
mutant, what am I, Colossus? What the F? Anyway, yes, a juggernaut. Anyways, go ahead.
I mean, Kyle, you are a pretty big guy, though. You still could be Rodney to 40. All right. Shouts before I go. Big shouts to everybody in the chat who people like, share, tag, all their friends, everybody in the chat. Rodney, Mike, Cortland. As the camera goes down.
Oh, no!
Yeah, I know. It is what it is. It's live television. More
That's as scary as a hand just randomly appearing behind your head. Oh my God.
Big shout out to Travis in the chat. Also, big shout out to the hand that was in my background grabbing something. I don't even know what she grabbed in the background, which is my beautiful wife in the background. So
we'll let that go. Moving on.
Listen, I can only do my best. Rodney, you know what? I can buy a new computer. Listen, get one of your Clemson alumni players. Get one of your Clemson folks to buy me one.
There you go.
I bet Dabo will do it for me.
Oh boy. Yeah, because apparently Dabo isn't as against the NIL as we once thought. Just saying.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Netflix and Hulu only want us to watch their television services because it's good for all of us.
Hey. You leave Netflix the bleep out of this, sir.
Netflix deserves the same foolishness as Hulu. And YouTube TV.
And you're just going after everybody. So much for those potential platforms. There you go. All right.
We're on YouTube right now. Are they going to stop us?
Maybe Twitch will invite us. There's always that. You never know.
Twitch is made by Amazon. You know, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you probably can't be on Twitch anyway. All right. So for myself and Kyle, we'll catch you guys next week on Beyond the Buzzer. If YouTube, I guess if the internet hasn't clipped us for all the times we just talked about streaming services. So
we Kimasabi.
Hey, listen, we're a tag team in this, sir. All right. I can't do the doomsday device without you holding up the guy on your shoulders.
Hey, listen, you have a little bit of an element of the Lone Ranger going to Indian country and saying, we're in trouble. What you mean we, Kimusabi? I say as Tonto.
Listen, like I said, if we're the Road Warriors, if we're Hawking Animal from the Road Warriors, all right,
Oh,
you got to be able.
You got to pull the Legion of Doom defense. Okay.
Listen, we can't do the Doomsday device if you don't have the person on your shoulders, because I damn sure go, my shoulders ain't big enough. All right. And I'm too worried that if you jump off the top rope and try to clothesline somebody, you're going to clothesline me instead of the person on my shoulders.
I mean, that is a threat.
See? And the thing is, it wouldn't be a clothesline, it'd be a big ass spear. Like straight Goldberg and Edge on my stomach, and I'm done. And we get pinned because you attacked me instead of the person on my shoulders. But for myself and before we get crazy, we'll catch you guys next week. Stay safe out there. And to Kyle's point, this Delta variant part 2 is way stronger than we even know. Whether you believe in wearing masks or not, be mindful of the people be mindful of people in general. Not everybody might have the same thought, but just care about those, because you never know whose immune systems are very vulnerable at this part. So for Kyle and I, catch you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Peace.